Okay, so if you watch my previous video, you'll see that I say a lot. To beat your competitors, all you have to do is be a little bit better than them and put in a little bit more effort. Okay, and I know this looks like a lot, but I'm going to walk you guys through it and show you why this will help you win over your competitors because you're putting in just a little more effort. It takes a little bit more time, but the difference it can make in your business is absolutely huge. So, there's two frameworks that you can see here for cold outreach and for warm outreach. Now, what's the difference between the two? Cold outreach is when you reach out to somebody that doesn't know who you are. They've never seen your videos, they've never seen your face, they've never interacted with you, they don't know who you are. Okay, and this is a lot harder than warm outreach, and I'm going to explain why that is in just a second. But you probably know why that is already if you're watching this video, because if you're watching this, you probably have a lot of experience already. But just in case you don't, the difference between the two, cold outreach, like I said, is when you reach out to somebody and they don't know who you are. And the reason it's so much harder is exactly for that. They don't know who you are. You're just a random stranger, obviously trying to sell them something. And there's a big difference in the way that you approach messaging them and DMing them on Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, right? Warm outreach is for people that know who you are. They've engaged with a post that you've made. They've liked one of your posts. They've shot you a follow on Instagram or on Facebook or whatever platform you use. They know who you are. They've commented. They subscribe. Whatever it is, they have engaged with you in some way. That makes them a warm lead. Okay. And the way that you approach the two is with cold outreach, you need to be very upfront because these people aren't stupid. Okay, they get pitched hundreds of times a week. I get pitched personally like 5 to 10 times a day. Okay, and it's very rare that I ever even consider reading one of them. Okay, I think the only time that I've done that is a couple of days ago where an appointment setter reached out to me and he looked like a good guy. He had a good Instagram profile. His outreach message was good. And, I gave him a shot. So here with cold outreach, you need to be very, very, very concise and to the point, okay? Because these people, like I said, get pitched dozens of times per day, okay, and if not hundreds of times per week. So the difference between these two, and a lot of people will tell you that you need to build rapport, you need to be, talking to them, but I completely disagree. On with warm outreach, okay, that is applicable. Cold outreach, it is not feasible whatsoever because you're reaching out to these people. They clearly know there's an underlying feeling that they get when you're talking to them, and it's very hard to go from talking about their kids and their work life and everything to trying to sell them on something like a $5,000 product. So the difference between these two is very, very you need to be very concise when you're doing cold outreach. With warm outreach, as you can see here, there's this thing called the stair-step DM process. I didn't come up with this. I got this from one of my mentors, but I've refined it a little bit to the point where it's been working absolute wonders for me and my business. So this is a more slow approach. You don't want to just go in for the kill. Okay, when you're doing cold outreach, you need to be upfront because nobody else is being upfront. You need to tell them exactly what you're offering, and you need to create curiosity. You don't want to create confusion. You want to be concise and to the point. You don't want to be vague. Okay, because being vague creates confusion. You don't want to create confusion. You want to be creating curiosity. Okay, so that's why this outreach message here creates curiosity because they see this and they wonder, oh, how can you do this? And if you want this entire doc, just go in the link below. It should be somewhere in there, and you can get this thing for free. There's no upsell or anything to it. Alternatively, just send me a DM on Instagram. But you can see here there's very different sort of approaches to it, and the reason that this one is so much more in-depth is because you are building rapport with that person. This person has seen your face, they know who you are, and they just want to, if you like, chances are if they're not DMing you first, because most of the time you should have a phrase in your Instagram bio, okay, that someone can DM to you, and that's an inbound lead. Those are probably 70% of my current clients are inbound leads, okay. Outbound is different. It's always going to be harder than inbound because you are reaching out to someone directly. Okay, so like I said, I've taken an example here of someone who's pitching a trading coach, but this can apply to absolutely anything. And you can see how I cover every single scenario, and I've even got this follow-up process here. So if you want this follow-up process, just click the link in the description or send me a DM on Instagram. But that is to, if they leave you on scene or if they don't reply to your message, that's a very thorough way of getting, getting through to them and getting them to respond, because all it takes is a response. And the way that you get a response is by invoking curiosity. That is all we are trying to do with every single one of these messages here, is invoke curiosity. And you always need to be selling the next step, okay? When you're selling the next step on a video, sorry, not on a video, when you're selling the next step to somebody, okay, you're not trying to go from A to Z. You just need to go from A to B first and then go in that order. So, if you sell in the DMs, obviously your next step is to pitch them in the DMs and get them to close. But if you close on sales calls, which is what most of you are probably doing, you need to be selling the sales call. You don't want to be selling the program or the service that you offer in the DMs, because the chances of you closing someone are so much greater on a sales call than if you're pitching someone in the DMs. Because on a sales call, somebody can't just leave. They can't just they can hang up, but the chances of them doing that are very, very, very slim. So you need to be selling the next step in the DMs. And you can see here, building rapport. Love it, bro. Yeah, the coaching space is taking off lately, and you're just relating to them. And this is a framework. I don't want you to use this word for word, because it just sounds robotic. Chances are this is going to get very saturated. Okay, this is going to get, a lot of people are going to be using this in the coming months. So you need to just talk to someone and be human. That is one of the biggest things that that people don't really understand, is that you will make 10 times more money than you are now if you just be human and you actually have an interest and actually diagnose their problem. Okay, I always tell this to people in sales, which is what everybody, whenever business you're in, sales is your number one skill, because if you can't sell, you will die. Okay, sales is all about being a doctor. You need to diagnose your prospect, or in this case, your client's problem. Okay, you need to diagnose what that problem is, and you need to offer the complete solution to it, just like a doctor. Okay, so if I had an eye infection, the doctor would diagnose my problem, find out what kind it is, and offer me a prescription for the complete solution to that problem. That is exactly what you need to be doing with this, okay? And you need to actually be interested in helping someone, not just selling them. Because if you can be human and you can follow these frameworks, I promise you, if you can follow these frameworks, you will book 10 times more calls than you are now. But that doesn't go to say it's not going to take effort, okay? You don't just start sending these messages and you're going to get thousands of replies, okay? Because remember, the difference between the two is this one, you need to be more upfront, okay? At most, you're going to get a 15 to 20% reply rate. Okay, with this, it's going to be a lot higher, because those people know who you are. And it's quite a, once you've built up that authority to the point where people, see your content regularly, and eventually when you hop on a sales call with them, especially if you followed this framework, okay, they get on the sales call and they're quite starstruck that it's actually you, because they're like, oh wow, you're like a real person. And it's almost that, you gain that authority over someone and you gain that leverage over them. And that's what every single, phrase and every single thing that we do in here conveys. You need to gain leverage, and you need to keep that leverage, because once you lose the leverage on somebody, it is extremely hard to get it back. Okay, and that's why I say here, never send more than 2 or 3 lines in the DMs, because the biggest thing is maintaining leverage. And as soon as you start sending 25 long essay, like fucking paragraphs of text, that's when you lose leverage, because that's when you seem desperate. Okay, it sounds petty, it sounds shitty, but that's just how the world works. So if you can follow this framework, you can gain leverage, you can maintain that leverage, and you can always sell someone on the next step. You're going to win. Remember, the next step is the step they have to take in however many steps it takes, from DMing someone to closing them as a client. You always want to be selling them on the next step, not A to Z. Just remember A to B. Like I said, if you want this document and if you want this sort of workflow, either DM me on Instagram, or you can just click the link in the description and it should give you access to it. But that's about it. And I hope this was helpful to you guys, and I will see you guys in the next one. Cheers.